And you're alive.
Alright, hello folks, I'm Froob. You probably recognize me from doing Yakuza runs, but today we're doing something very, very different. This is Valkyrie Elysium. This actually has only been out for a couple of months, and this is the first actual marathon showing for it. It was one of the games that Square Enix brought out a couple of months ago, I think back in September, and then in November it got a PC port as well as some free DLC, such as a DLC campaign with Hilde here, who you'll recognize coming up in the actual run itself. But for now, we're gonna get going. You've got a couple of difficulty levels. Valkyrie is quite tough. We're gonna be on easy for the most of this. So if you're ready, let's get going in 3, 2, 1, go. Now I have to be very, very careful here. If I do the wrong input, I'm gonna lose 10 minutes, which sounds a bit weird. You'll understand. Once you get past the very first level, anytime you come back to the game, you get given this option in a second here. Would you like to skip the tutorial? The tutorial itself is an entire level, and it's literally about 10 minutes long. So by doing that, we've literally just skipped 10 minutes. It's not the most flashiest of tech you'll ever see, or even in just this run, but obviously very, very good. So we play as, if you've ever seen, obviously, the Valkyrie series, this is a new, I believe they say it's a mainline game, but it's kind of like not, you'll see immediately it's not anything like the Valkyrie profile or Silmeria that you are used to. What's my, there it is. We are playing as this Valkyrie here. We're just going to be called Maria for now. She doesn't get given the name Maria for a little while. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know her name. You know the drill. But this is the Elysium territory. This is going to be our first 2 chapters of the game. We're going to get our usual tutorials where we get told, you know, how to review tutorials, how to do the map. Movement. Movement is interesting in this game. We have 3 different bits of move tech. We have running, which we'll be doing for probably the first, like, 3-4 chapters. We have guard cancelling, which is a little bit of the same speed, but I think it's a tiny bit faster than your normal running. But interestingly enough, the guard dashing there is actually fastest for the Hilde in Hilde's DLC, and we have one more bit of speed tech that we can do on Maria, but we can't do that just yet because we need a prerequisite skill beforehand. We also have this. It is a tether. If you've ever seen, pretty much like most action games recently, they have a bit of a tether to grab onto enemies and stuff like that. In the bottom right, you'll see a scroll wheel of moves. I only have this lightning bolt at first. This lightning bolt is very, very good, as you will see. This lightning bolt is exceptionally good. So we're going to be going around the level. In some cases, when going upstairs like this, it's actually a little easier just to do the running rather than the dash cancelling, because you're going in kind of like kind of the same direction. Okay, I wasn't sure I got that hit, but I did. That's nice. Basically, what you do is you drop down with a jump attack on that guy. He gets launched into the air. You tether onto him, and then you try and take him out before he lands so that he doesn't guard. We're going to be hitting both of these with hopefully 2 lightning bolts. Sometimes these shield enemies can guard a hit. You'll probably see that here. What we can also do, as you'll see here, is you'll see that actually... Nice dodge. You'll see that actually in some cases... Where have you gone? Sometimes this guy just disappears. I shouldn't be using lightning bolt until I've, like, staggered him or let him attack. If I let him attack, that'll open him up for a free attack. But that's okay. Blue chests like this are also very important. Blue chests like this are your magic. So when we find these around the world, we'll be grabbing them. This is fire. The game tells us how to equip fire, but because we have 3 slots, it actually automatically equips it. These are save points. These save points are very useful for a couple of reasons. One, when we use them, if you look at the bottom, it refills our art gauge. That will allow us to use, obviously, our skills again. We can also upgrade our weapons here. This game has a variety of weapons. We also have normal upgrades, so we can get it. Double jump here. Double jump is not, like, massively necessary for this bit, but we can use double jump to help us with a bit of speed tech in the next chapter, and also making a little bit of a trickier jump coming up in a bit, just a little easier. But there's actually quite a lot of systems to this game that I really, really like. You'll see if you pay attention to the right-hand side of the screen when we come up to this next fight here, there's going to be a combo meter. So, obviously, the more combos you do, the more that fills up. That targeting actually went a very different direction than I was expecting it to. It normally doesn't skip over the one in the middle, but for some reason it actually skipped over the one in the middle for once. You're going to get a couple of fights like this, which are a little frustrating with not full of enemies. So what we're going to do is, obviously, attempt to get them all like that. That's nice. That was a good lineup. That blue chest there contains heal. Heal is you can get items in this game as well for certain healing parts. Essentially, heal isn't necessary here. In our 3 level up trees, attack, defend, and support, you can raise your max HP. We will not actually be doing that in this run. That blue flame right there is a sub-story, or a subquest even. Subquests are... they work a little differently in VE, where we have to find them in the level, and then when we go back to the hub world, which is Valhalla afterwards, we'll then get the ability to come back into the level and do that specific subquest, usually on a smaller version of the same level you've gone through, sometimes backwards through the way you came. Double jump here to grab you, and then up we go. That skips out on having to do that giant fight right there. I don't particularly need my magic here, because we have a weapon, we have an enemy coming up, one of the larger enemies in the game. This is like a wyvern / dragon. So most of these enemies, as you can see via the tutorial, have weak spots. You can tell because of the yellow bit here. Unfortunately, I didn't get behind him, which is a shame. What I'm also doing is I am holding guard during this to be able to guard cancel. Guard cancel will also be good for our move tech later on. That dragon's been giving me some issues lately, so I'm not surprised it gave me some issues there. But we're coming up on the castle town here, where we're also going to be skipping out on, I believe it's 2 fights coming up here. Just by going over here, and you can't see anything just yet, but here you go. Hidden grapple point. We jump over to this piece of roof here. We can use our grapple for movement, but the downside is if we get attacked by, say, like these arrows in the middle of that grapple, we will get knocked out of it, and then we'll lose some time to rolling on the floor. Story-wise, we're going to meet a character here called Armand. We'll see him again in a bit. But now we're going to go ahead. There are unguardable attacks. They glow red. Hopefully that won't be a problem. I shouldn't have done that at that time, but I had another attack saved up, which is fine. So what I'm hoping to do here, although this hasn't gone too great, is I'm hoping to do the double light into strong attack so I can hit all of them whilst they're reasonably together. The purple things that are flying towards the enemy are souls. So every time you kill an enemy, there's like an enemy soul that pops out and goes towards another enemy. That's going to power them up. They're also... I don't know if this is a thing that happens, but they seem to get like a lot more like guard at that point. So we really don't want that to happen. We're going to go into our attack. We're going to get attack boost 1 and magic boost 1. If you look at the bottom right, you can see that everything it takes basically a couple of different gems. We get these gems from taking out enemies. We can also get these gems from like treasure chests and stuff in the world. Trying to push this enemy forward so that, yep, that'll chain. But also there are obviously air combos. Air combos are going to be quite nice in a little bit. That stopped you. Into the left, that's fine. The big thing about combat is being in a good position to basically attack enemies, like kind of one after another, or like being in a good position for the next wave. Next wave is down here, which has a bunch of dogs. Dogs are frustrating unless you can get them in the air. In the air, dogs are actually quite nice to deal with. You can do that a couple of ways. If you just tether towards them like that, and you attack during mid-tether, you can actually do a like an aerial attack, which pushes them upwards. You have a couple of launches in some of your combos as well. Single light into strong, for example, will launch an enemy. Here, I'm hoping to manually lock onto you to get everybody else, because that enemy, unfortunately, likes to not get hit sometimes. If I just manually target, then that's fine. In this next part, because we have a double jump, I didn't need to go there. Because we have double jump, we can go over this, and you might be wondering what those flowers are. The blue flowers are for just little bits of story there. People who used to, like, live around the world that have basically turned into these flowers after everything that's happened. See here that I'm using the rise to stop them from hopefully guarding. These guys have a lot of hyper armor as well, which is kind of frustrating at times. Good crush on you. I was hoping to catch the other one, but that other enemy was actually still alive, so that's not too bad. And you can see there that the enemy guarded. You can see when they guard because of that special effect there. Normal attack. And then we hit this chain here. These spikes are holding these chains down, blocking the way we need to go. The game kind of wants you to go to the left here and you go down that hole, but that would get us an extra fight that we don't want to do. So we're just going to go over this way instead. And we're going to go and get our next magic attack.
Defiled soul, you
I'm going to
shall
run past these enemies. There's going to be a couple of fights that we can actually skip just by running past them like this. And there's going to be some fights later on, especially the final 2 chapters of the game, where we'll just be able to skip the entire levels. So this is Hail Shot, this is Ice. We're going to ignore this enemy here. If my magic was low, you can see at the very bottom of the screen, there's a green bar, a see-through bar currently, and also the 3 diamonds. The diamonds are your arts, so that's how you use your skills and stuff. At the minute, when you have a level 1 skill, like we've only got level 1 skills, as you can see on the bottom right, every one of those takes 1 diamond. Archers are very frustrating. Archers are very annoying in this game. I can shoot away, that's fine. I did not mean to hit those, that's fine, so just take care of you. Cool. Take care of the second one, and that's going to open up the main pathway where we want to go. Be careful of these archers on the way out, because, yeah, they'll be preparing a shot. Unfortunately, I didn't jump at the right time. Again, watch out for these two, because they can do the same. I'm going to move to the right so I don't get hit by them. And we have another wyvern coming up here. The wyverns... Now, the nice thing about the enemies in this game, they are all weak to specific weapons and also elements. So I know, for example, the wyverns here are weak to ice. They are also weak to a weapon we don't currently have yet. One of the big things about this game, especially on the harder difficulties, is basically doing the right weapons against enemies and the right magic against enemies. Down here. With these two, and down the hole we go. When we get down here, we have another magic. This is Grave Edge. Grave Edge is light, which we're going to need immediately. We're going to get our magic back from the save point, and hopefully I can do this next boss correctly, because this boss has been giving me a little bit of problems lately. Attack boost 2, and magic boost 2. So you can see next up, as you don't have any Azure gems. The way that the game stops you from over-leveling stuff is that you don't get certain gems until certain levels. But this is going to be our first boss. This is what is known as Naglfar Egon. So I'm going to use its weakness at first to crush it. I'm going to start doing its combo. Then before it comes out of crush, we're going to do its elemental weakness one more time to immobilize it. This is going to keep it on the floor, and this is going to be something that we do with the vast majority of bosses and some normal enemies going through the game. I'm going to be building up my art here, because every time a boss comes out of their immobilized state, they will do a really big, like, AoE, like, attack, which you can avoid by using magic. That should be that. Good fight. Very good fight. I'm happy with that. He's been giving me some problems lately, so I'm kind of happy with that. And you'll see now we have a white chest. White chests are weapons. This is your second weapon, Bolverker. Bolverker is a fast-hitting weapon, which some of the enemies on the next couple of levels are going to be weak to. But for now, storyline-wise, Naglfar Egon there is actually an Harrier. If you've played the Valkyrie games before, you know that you can, basically, as a Valkyrie, you can go and get souls just there as they're on the verge of death, then get them into your repertoire. Valkyrie Elysium doesn't have as many as Profile or Silmeria. We only have 4 in the game, but it's a lot more character-driven. This is, of course, Odin. Hi, Odin.
How fares your mission?
Don't worry about him sitting on the chair like a villain. That's completely fine. He has been injured in the fight against Fenrir. So we basically need to, like, let him rest up, get his power back, and then we need to go at some point and find the 4 gifts to stop Ragnarok. And then go and obviously fight Fenrir. This bit is actually a little bit faster with English subtitles and Japanese audio by about 2 to 3 seconds.
His voice.
But for the sake of the marathon, I thought I'd keep it on English because, you know, it's only 2 to 3 seconds. But our first, like, kind of big skip is coming up here, and it's this fence. This fence is a giant obstacle. There's only really one bit you can kind of get over it. I'm trying to show the camera. It's like this little plank of wood ahead of us. So it might take me a little bit of time, because if we're too close to the left, you can actually bonk off the roof. And this is why it's nice, first try. That's supposed to be the easy side. I've been struggling with that side, so I'm happy about that. There's only one bit that's kind of not blocked off by an invisible wall. But a lot of fights in this game as well will basically require us to basically react to what's happening in the fight at the time. So obviously, if enemies are being a pain like this, I might have to do an extra magic. But I'm also trying to keep my magic for specific encounters. This one is not going well, unfortunately. And as you can see, they can dodge like that. Also, your tether does a tiny bit of damage, which is hilarious. Even better, you can actually send these enemies off the map. And you'll see this giant glowing orb right here. This contains one of Egon's relics. This is the Torn Flag. So, in this chapter, basically, Odin has said we need to get a bit stronger. To do that, he's found some Inheria. We're going to go back over that fence. This is the hardest side. I've been finding this side a lot easier. Whoops, wrong button. I've been finding this side a lot easier to do than the other side, but saying that, it might take me a time. It's still, there you go, nice. It's still better to try and do that, because by doing this, we skip about 2 to 3 fights, which is a good 20 to 30 seconds. So it's still worth trying to get that. And Egon's next soul relic is gonna be up the top of this little clock tower that we're at. Well, bell tower, even. I don't actually think it's either. I think it's just a tower. But there's a couple of enemies here. We can just avoid them, and there we go. This is the Knight's Commander Seal. Every time you get a relic, you get a little bit of backstory on said character. I don't have magic for this next fight, which is a shame. So what I'm gonna have to do is take care of you. Hopefully before you hit with fire, but sometimes that happens. This is why you want magic at the start, to stop them from doing that. So take you out. You're running away, which is a giant shame because you're one of these in the actual fight. Take care of you, and take care of you. So this gives us this chest here. This blue chest isn't magic, but an actual item called an Art Ambrosia. This, as you'll see in the bottom right, allows us to get extra arts. This will allow us to obviously use more skills, which is really, really good. So our last relic for now is going to be on this side, next to all of these enemies, which is unfortunate. These enemies are kind of tough. A lot of them have shields. That one was attacking me, so I decided to jump up to try and chain that a little better, which did work out. There you go. When you break the shield as well, or if you like launch them in the air like that, you can just take them out quite quickly. I want to do my full combo, but that actually worked out with the shield break. And we get ourselves Princess's necklace. So Egon was a knight in service of the princess, and you'll see through all of the story that's kind of going on right now that obviously things haven't gone too great. There's been a little bit of traitorous action. We don't actually have to take care of this enemy. He's just decided to turn up for once. I appreciate that, I guess. I just want to leave. Not too bad. So you can see that we're basically going back through kind of the same route that we went through in the first chapter. Usually the structure of this game is that every single level is going to give you a second shot at the level. Again, it's not usually that long. That was unfortunate on my part. I should have hit a bit more, but there we go. Second one is still good. The triangle hit in midair, as you can see, is kind of like an AoE, which is nice. And obviously, the nice thing about the enemies in this game is you can kind of tell. These are obviously fire infused, so you can tell that their weakness is... You're actually alive. Huh, that's a surprise. You can tell that obviously they are fire infused, so you can tell that their weakness is thankfully ice. I'm going to build up my magic a little bit. Surprise, that didn't hit. Oh well. That happens sometimes. Yeah, dogs at the end. So, with dogs, they will get taken out with one magic hit, or again, as we said, if you can get them in the air, we can stop them from guarding. That one I let get down to the ground, so that's my fault. I should have done a full combo instead of the triangle attack. Let's do it again. So yeah, just like that, if you get a dog into the air, they can't do a really nasty kind of guard as you saw with the first one. The nasty thing about the dogs, there's a health ambrosia there to increase our max HP, but we don't need that generally. The nasty thing about the dogs is that they have this really long attack that basically gives them a bunch of guard. It's like this spinning fiery wheel, which you might get to see later on, hopefully not. Now we're in the land of Goop. This is where Egon is. We've got to find his last relic, which is a broken greatsword. You have to go close to him here to be able to get the enemies. So again, we have shield enemies. Unfortunate, but I'm going to build my magic back up with this. The nice thing here is obviously the tether is very, very good at getting you into battle very quickly. We want to be a little careful of the orbs. You can attack the orbs yourself to stop them from actually like getting to the enemy. And again, every so often we will try and lightning bolt, but I did it the wrong time again there, and unfortunately got eaten. Enemies, you want to wait until like either the enemies attack, or obviously knock them to the ground. That's 2 good ways of guaranteeing that it will happen. I want to deal with this enemy first, because the relic is going to be at the other end of the arena after this wave. So we want to make sure that we can get as close to that as possible. If I use this now, that's a shame. I was hoping to stop this from happening. It's okay, because I need to do this. That's a shame. Did you hide from that? I think you did. So again, we're just going to make sure we avoid letting the souls go to most of the enemies. There we go. Fortunate. And the last enemy is over there. This is why we want to leave this one till last, because he'll be next to the relic. These archers can be very annoying. They can basically start jumping back like that. There's not much you can do about that if that happens. And our final relic, the Broken Greatsword. We are now going to get into our next boss fight. Showed her off very, very briefly earlier, because as we're now getting our first Inheria, we'll speak about the Inheria in a second. The game tutorializes us about equipping them, but the game automatically equips all of them anyway. This is Hilde. Now, the downside is my magic is a little low. Fine. If I could push Hilde, that would be great. Hilde 1 doesn't actually have that much HP, which is nice. You can see that, for the most part, Egon actually helps us out there. But you can see we now have a little extra radial dial at the bottom right. That's going to contain all of our Inheria. We'll speak about them later. Oh, excuse me. Back to Valhalla. Your confirmation for stuff is actually on left trigger, which is an interesting place to put it, but you get used to it. You get very used to it. You have to not press left trigger early. If you press left trigger too early like that, you'll just get the grapple, which is weird. Vingolf is now accessible, which sounds exciting. It's a training arena, I'm afraid. I also was hoping that it would be some kind of golf minigame, but sadly not. Sadly not. So we're going to go to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is going to be a brand new area, and we're going to start getting into the story of another of our upcoming Inheria. And you'll probably see a bit of a pattern emerging in that our first Inheria was lightning, and our next one is going to be ice. But there's also something very important to talk about at the start of this chapter. We're going to be meeting up with our man real quick as well. But we're now in the Galvan territory. There's our boy Egon. He's good. Egon is amazing in this run, as you will see. So, this is a soul tree. So, in this level specifically, there are going to be these soul trees that we can absorb. We're actually going to be absorbing a couple of them because we can't move forward until we do. For these enemies, they are weak to both fire and our new weapon, but as long as we just hit them with fire, that's fine. You have to open this chest to continue. This contains a rune. Runes you can equip into weapons to do different things. This one increases your physical attack a little bit. We don't need to grab that just yet, but this is massively important. Unlike the blue flowers, these white flowers are very different. You'll see at the bottom that they don't give you any text. This text is actually missing for now. These white flowers are very, very special flowers. I won't spoil what they are. They are required for what we like to consider the true ending of this game. This game has multiple endings. Egon will take care of that enemy. So the enemies can break the soul trees themselves. We actually don't want them to do that, because we like to grab that, and you'll see at the bottom that my stats will now go back to being normal. So the blue bar is for summoning your Inheria. The nice thing with this game is you can actually customize how much bar your Inheria summons cost, and for how long they'll be in the fight, plus their moves if you do special side quests pertaining to each of their stories. This fight, we're going to summon Egon. Now, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet that is actually super important. When you summon a Inheria, you can see at the bottom right, there is a lightning icon, because Egon is lightning-based. This makes my element into lightning, but more importantly, you'll see on the bottom right that the lightning bolt we've got actually has a little bit of a different kind of like outline to it. I need Egon to come out of that fight, thank you, because I need him for this puzzle. Thank you. So what that means is that every single magic attack that's kind of attuned to whoops daisy, to that magic is now going to be better. In the case of Lightning Bolt, it bounces one more time. It can also hit more enemies. That's going to be very important later on when we get a stronger version of Lightning Bolt. This is a key. This key is for, weirdly enough, the door that's right here. I think they do it as a way to stop you from, like, going too fast. But yes, this is where the key goes. And even though these enemies right here, for example, are fire affinity, you can see just how destructive using an Egon-powered-up lightning bolt is. It's unfortunate, but they exploded because of that move, so that's fine. That one, I will hit you with this. And I want to save my magic for the next wave, so I'll be just attacking these enemies normally. This enemy is weak to fire. I actually hit the attack. I'm kind of surprised at myself. That was pretty good. Didn't want to do that, but I'm still surprised. So if we can get them to... Actually, I think I missed a fireball. It's unfortunate. I did miss a fireball. I don't know how you miss a point-blank fireball like that, but apparently I did. Anyway, if you're wondering who Armand is, this is Armand right here. We'll be getting into his story a whole bunch in this game later on. His story is very important to Maria's story here. But when you see the combo gauge on the right finish, you'll see that it adds back to the gauge at the bottom. So when the combo gauge finishes, you get back like your little arts, your Inheria stuff, which is nice. We are going to enhance our weapon Alphada to level 6. This is going to get us to the ability for our actual move tech, which you'll see after this boss.
A futile attempt.
So this is going to be our next Naglfar. The Naglfar are kind of the corrupted versions of our Inheria, just to put it bluntly. We're going to break their weakness. I wasn't expecting them to actually rush me there. That's fine, because again, you can see you have a little bit of iframes whenever you use magic. So, take it down. This is one of the easier bosses. This boss also has a very, very cool strat to it, where you can actually break the heads. Like that, which will stop them doing whatever they were doing at the time. I'm kind of in a bad position. I'd like to have been a bit further in the room, but that's fine. I'll just get this tree first. You have to get all 3 trees once the boss has been dealt with. Usually you want to be on the other side, because there's a singular tree that's on the other side that's kind of just doing nothing and is like kind of a pain to go and grab. It's that one over there. There is a weapon here. It is the first spear you can get in the game. It is a very fast spear. This route used to have a lot of weapon changing in it for the weapon weaknesses, but we kind of figured out that Lightning Bolt is very, very overpowered. Especially Lightning Bolt 2. See you soon. So once we get the last tree, we'll get a little bit of the memories of Armand. Armand has a little bit of amnesia, just the same as obviously we do with Maria. And basically, Armand was warned not to go to an area, and we'll get more on that later. But for now, we're going to go back to figuring out what's going on with our next Inheria, Cypher. So you'll see in the background Cypher's having, obviously, their story told. We can skip that corner, which is nice, so we're getting hit by the arrow. Another sultry hit. So once again, summon Egon. Use lightning. That also stuns and crushes some of these enemies, which allows us to just get this tree without any problems. Very nice. I'll be doing the move tech in a bit, but some of these jumps coming up, it's not, like, super conductive to use the speed tech. The targeting in this bit can be a little frustrating sometimes, because you want to get, like, yeah, the enemies over there. And as I said earlier, if you get interrupted mid-tether by, like, an arrow or something, yeah. Yeah. Up these stairs for Cypher's second relic. Or third, I think it's second. So, Cypher, as a young kid, basically got an abacus and started to, which you're going to learn about here, and started to learn, like, actual maths and started to be pretty useful for the prince and made a good friendship with them. The tragic part about this is there's going to be a big disease that basically starts, unfortunately, killing everybody, and Cypher was trying to, obviously, find a cure for that, which is going to be, I believe, one of his relics. For this next part here, we're going to get Egon, send them to the left, use 1 lightning, and then focus on this guy. Then go back and hit everybody with lightning. You got him, Egon? I don't believe you do. If I don't believe that Egon's got it, I'm going to send a fireball over. We should move on. We can skip a little bit of platforming to the left by going this side. So if we dash and then do a strong attack, you'll see that we're actually doing the dash cancelling. Whoops. So the dash cancelling, you've got guard cancelling, you've got dash cancelling and guard cancelling. Guard cancelling is just holding guard and then dashing, which is this. And then you've got the dash cancelling, which is a dash into a strong attack, into obviously after that, the dash again. It's actually not something you want to spam. It's actually timed. If you spam it, you actually, instead, as you see, do the actual attack, which is not ideal. If you get knocked down, you can interrupt the animation of you being knocked down with a magic attack. You are proving problematic today. Sometimes that enemy will focus on Egon, and it's really nice. It's why I sent out Egon at the start of the fight, to try and hope that Egon would be the one that got hit. Unfortunately not. Once again, we have a very, very close-by key just over here in this chest. I'm going to use the save point here to replenish our arts, because I am out. And then I'm going to do a very quick level up and hope to get to Magic Boost 4. This does require Egon to have killed a couple of enemies in the tree parts. So sometimes you won't have it just yet. I don't think I will. Yeah, I won't. I've got very low magic gems, actually. That's interesting. But that should be fine for later. This is fine Magic Boost for now, as you'll see in this next room. Send out Egon. I move to the right to make sure that I do also hit this enemy as well. Egon hopefully stays for this next room, which he does. And I want to try and hope to get most of the enemies with these. That's unfortunate on my part. Egon disappeared, but that's fine. This is the last enemy. I don't want to waste any of my gauge for Egon.
Do not underestimate.
And we'll just start slide dashing upstairs, because this is how you take stairs. This is how you take stairs to go fast, is you just slide upstairs. Gonna summon Egon again. Hopefully we can get them again in the air. That's unfortunate. I'm getting a lot of aggressive enemies today. Please lose that. Thank you. They go down to pretty much just one fireball each because of our magic boosts at the moment. More slide cancellings these stairs, and again, it's better in like kind of straight lines, because you don't have to you can't readjust kind of like your line with the dash until it's like almost over. Hopefully we don't get too unlucky here, because Egon can actually send these enemies the wrong way. I should have just taken 2 fireballs because there's a save spot here. Usually we don't do this one, but I am going to do this one just to get some magic back. Now I will get Magic Boost 4. There we go. And you can see next up we need Ruby Gems, which Ruby Gems we won't be getting until the next level. Good first hit. There are you. You. Take care of your shield. That's fine. I hit the one behind it, didn't I? Can just use Fire Twice. And take care of you. So yeah, the Tether is really, really good at being able to just get enemies in the air, but also just keep fights going. You can see that Cypher is struggling at the moment, and unlike Egon, with Cypher, we're not going to be going to the world of Goop, we're going to be going to the world of Ice instead. Cypher, as you can probably guess, is Ice Affinity. We're going to have Cypher's soul arrows rain down upon us as we go through this bit. It's not actually a problem. Use lightning twice. Take care of them. We don't want to use too many bits of magic here, because we want to save some for the next fight.
I beg you.
So Cypher, I do need you. You're actually really useful in this speedrun. And we'll try and get the Wyvern in the middle. Take care of the normal enemies with some boosts. And there we go. That's the end of Chapter 3. Well, it will be once we go down here and collect the Abacus for Cypher. And there we go. Last relic. Okay, with that, once again, much like the first level, we're gonna do a second little chapter here. Again, it tells you how to equip the Inherior again, and you'll see on the bottom right, it just does it for you. There are no more than 4 Inheriors. It always automatically equips them. So yeah, we unlock a couple of Cypher's memories, so you get a little bit of backstory on each of them. At some points during the game, we'll be able to actually do side quests for them. And And as you can probably guess, due to the fact that there are 4 openings on the bottom right, we will be getting 4 in here as we go through. But we're going to be, once again... I should actually, just in case, yeah, just in case. We're going to go into our support tree here. We're going to be getting Health Fortify. We're going to be getting Double Evasion and Finisher. Oh no, I really do have low magic gems. That's curious. That's not too bad for now. Finisher, we need to get Finisher at some point to get to the skill behind it, which is an art gauge up. But the nice thing about this is you can actually turn off skills if you don't want them. We don't want Finisher. Finisher is a way to kill enemies with like a really flashy but strong attack when they're down to like, depending on the level of Finisher, you've got like 5%, 10% HP left. The problem in the speedrun is that's pretty slow. So we're not actually going to be using Finisher, but we need to get through Finisher, and the nice thing is we can turn it off. There's a couple of upgrades you can get, which the game is going to tutorialize us about here after we go over this puzzle, where you can auto-summon your Inheria after you do certain things, like finish a combo, guard break an enemy, or do stuff like that. But again, those you can actually just turn off, which is really nice. So I'm going to start dashing along here. It's pretty nice to start dashing along. This bit's a bit strange sometimes in trying to jump over. If you have a tether, sometimes it's better just to do the tether. I've had it where your lock-on for some reason disappears behind you and like targets the actual enemy sometimes. Also, for some reason I've been having troubles with the actual like dash cancel lately. I don't know why. It's really weird. Like, I've never had problems with it before, but recently I've been having a lot of problems with it. Where sometimes you'll see me just running at the moment. If I could get to the person on the left, that'd be great. Good timing, so I don't get knocked down. And once again, it's time for Hilde. For Hilde, I'm going to be hitting Hilde as fast as possible, because I do not want Hilde to get off her second attack, which is, that's going to be bad. She'll probably do it. She's going to summon Doppelgangers, which is not great for us. Yep, there we go. That's a shame. Now, the nice thing about Hilde is that's a Doppelganger. You can tell because of the glowing face. Ooh, that's unfortunate. I got cornered. The real Hilde is this one here. Take care of the Doppelganger real quick. Shame I missed the one dash. I want to try and take her down, but this is proving problematic. Hilde, please. Hilde's not a hard fight. Wow, I lost both Cypher and Egon. This may be a death if I'm not careful. He's crushed. There we go. If you crush an enemy, they don't do anything, which is what makes this fight nice and simple. But considering she dodged 2 of my actual dashes, that's pretty bad. We should be good now. Thanks, Hilde. I knew one of the Hilde fights would probably give me some problems today. I was expecting it to be the last one, not that one. But that one has a tendency, if you mess up the start of it like I did, just to... you lose it a little bit. So we're going to grab this save just to get all of my stats back in, not this room, but the next room. We're going to be using Egon to just chain some lightning together. The nice thing about Hilde is she is weak. Her weapon weakness is your default weapon. You might be wondering why we are going up against a different Valkyrie. You'll understand later. You'll understand later. Nice, good ending. Nice by the door. Stairs we go again.
I will not stop until the world
For this floor, we're going to use Cypher, because most of these enemies are weak to ice.
Take care of this.
And this one's weak to fire. So we could use 2 fire here if we wanted to. I probably should have kept 1 magic, because I don't think I'm going to be losing my combo before I get to the next floor. Egon should give me 1 charge of my magic, which should help out here. So we send Egon out. We're going to use lightning to try and take care of most of the enemies. I'm going to also summon Cypher, so I can take care of some of these enemies that are weak to, obviously, ice. I need to use Egon once here, just to take care of the remaining enemies. Nope. Take care of at least 1 of those, which is fine. Now you're crushed. Cool. Bit of bad magic management on my end, but that's fine. I'm not quite sure how I got knocked down there, if I'm being honest. Now we can leave. At least with this 141 combo, I don't have to worry about using any save points for a while. So again, when that fills down to the bottom, I'll get all of my stats back. Cool. You can see that we get a lot of yellow souls on the left-hand side. You would think that, considering yellow souls are like only from enemies, that those would be the problem for mass level ups in this game. Actually, no, it's the magic gems. One thing I found as a problem was just a lack of magic gems in general. So, start dashing along here. And go into this lovely looking building up here. If you can get the actual dash upstairs, it's really nice. I don't know why I keep dropping it lately, but I do. In this room here, we're going to be summoning Egon using that twice and then Cypher. Cool. So I'm also using jumps every so often to kind of cancel out of like my combo stuff. Got a key for this door. In this next room, the enemy spawn is right in the middle, which is very, very useful. It allows us to just disappear. One of the flowers required for the true ending is in the opposite corner, up the stairs. So, as long as you stay out of the middle, you won't actually get any enemies in this bit. We have a couple of enemies here. I'm going to give a little bit of a flashing light warning for this one, because we're intentionally going to get every one of them, like, in a corner, so it's going to get a little bright for a second. We're going to go all the way to the end. It's going to drag all of these enemies towards us. Summon Egon. And then do a bunch of lightning. And obviously Cypher. That's good. Oh, that's everyone. Before we use this save point, I'm going to focus on what I want usually at this point, which is Arts Gauge 1. Lovely jubbly, using that finisher that we couldn't get earlier, and as said, we're going to turn finisher off. Use this because now I have 5 of the old arts that we can use, which is good for this boss. We're going to be summoning Cypher into Egon, which is going to be something that we do quite a lot. Then we're going to be killing all of the ads like so, and then we're just going to be breaking Shardabus. Hopefully, immobilizing at the right time. Remember that Grave Edge has a little bit of a start up to it, so just be careful. But should be a nice simple boss. Very nice. Very nice. Good. Good, good, good. And we get our second spear, or what would be your second spear of the game here. This is a much slower hitting spear. This is Hertia. I actually really like this weapon a lot. So I'm kind of upset we don't get to use it that much in the run. I like that weapon a lot. I like that weapon a heck of a lot. So this is where we're going to start breaking a little bit of the rules that were already established. So I said before that pretty much every single chapter we're going to be going back to revisit a second time. With the next chapter, we're only going to be here once. But because of that, as you can probably guess, it's going to be reasonably long. Now, Odin's going to give us a new directive. He's going to tell us to go and get the 4 gifts. Obviously, if you know about the story of Valkyrie and you know about, obviously, Ragnarok, you know, like the horn, Galahorn is one of those. So we're going to be going and looking for those gifts because we know that there's one in this area at the very end, supposedly. So we get a lovely, in the Lucadan territory, we get a lovely little snow biome. Pretty nice. I like this place. So you'll see that I'm doing obviously the slide as we go down. But also, as you can see, there is our next Enheriar here.
No wonder he became a legendary hero.
So send out Egon. Use Egon twice here. We also have access to, or coming up, we'll have access to Soul Steal as well, which will allow us to do a special attack when going forward. It will give us certain souls that we can get our Enheriar usages back. But this is the first of Christopher's relics. We don't want to actually dash here because you can't dash down this little bit, weirdly.
An easy fun.
So I am spinning the camera as I'm kind of doing these dashes to try and get like a good lineup. thing about doing this as well is if this wyvern sends a stray firebolt your way, you do guard it. Because that's happened a couple of times. Try and grab you. Very nice. That's a little bit of a tough angle to get that sometimes. And now we're going to have our first buff enemy. So these buff enemies cast buff and debuff. We're going to send out Cypher. I'm going to use, obviously... wasn't expecting you to come close to me. Hey, nice. That's actually okay. I don't want to use too much magic. That's fine. Cypher's probably going to go behind and go fight some of those enemies. That's kind of okay. I'll keep the combo meter up for a little bit. And then we're going to go into this bit. I didn't summon Egon because I would still like Egon to last a little bit longer whilst we deal with these enemies. So summon Egon. Do that lightning. Should hopefully get the first 3. I'm going to trust that Egon will take care of that enemy. Or the bounce will go backwards. That's also fine. We'll take care of you. Then we'll use this heal spot. Jump down. We can get every enemy from above. Usually, we chain these two. Unfortunately, not this time. There's the shield. Summon Egon. There we go. Got them in midair, which is why I want to hit them with the magic. Oh, hello. I want to build up my magic a little bit if I can. The key here is for that door right there. Again, it's obviously a way to stop us from going like super fast and like speeding through all these areas, but there's our garrison key. And there's the next Christopher's relics. So you can see that Christopher's story is basically that Christopher wants to be a knight, wants to help out obviously their family who are also knights, but having some problems with that. Watch out for this guy. This guy can jump you. Yeah, like that. Thank you. I managed to get a guard off in that corner, which stopped him from basically interrupting me again. That guy sometimes charges you, sometimes doesn't. I was hoping he would be nice today. He wasn't nice today. Bristol, flat on the right. I'm going to start by summoning Cypher first into Egon, then using Egon to... oh, not them. Hopefully take care of these enemies. And then switch back to Cypher for the extra elemental damage we do. And I want to save my magic for the next room. You and Harrier do a reasonable amount of damage to those that are weak to them. So you'll see on here, you'll also see we're getting the ruby gems on the left-hand side that we need for this level. I'm going to send Egon against those two, and he's actually going to do a decent job. Somewhat of a decent job. It's fun. Take care of them. I want to try and save my magic as most I can for this bit. I would like to not send... I don't have enough to summon Egon. Ooh. That's a new one. This. Because ideally, I would be able to summon Cypher here, so that's bad management on my part. Shield. Thank you. There we go. Usually, again, as you can probably tell, you would go very, very fast here if you could have the actual weakness that they are weak to. I did a very bad job with my Inheriors, so whoops-a-daisy. I can get them back here, though. There's a nice little save point here. Actually, I won't. Yeah, no, it's fine. Grab this. This is the key. That's the key for, ironically enough, that door. But before we go into that door, we want to go in here. Very importantly, it's a small little side area. Once again, small Inherior puzzle. Enemies that we will take out. Sometimes, yeah, I was going to say, sometimes Egon will disappear here. So just be a little careful. I was hoping that would change to the left, but sometimes doesn't happen. Egon decided not to finish this enemy off, which is unfortunate. Here, if we can chain, it's not too bad, because obviously we'll be getting our magic back after this bit. Take care of you. Okay, cool. This gets us Lightning Bolt 2, which is obviously a much better version of Lightning Bolt 1, but it uses up two Arts Gauge instead of the 1. So what we're going to do is, whoops, I was meant to level up my Alpha to here, 7. And then we're going to grab a couple of levels ups here. I hope I can get Soul Steel, because that will help me with any Inherior problems coming up, but I am a little bit behind in terms of, yeah, magic gems by quite a bit, actually. That's surprising. I wonder if I I think I know why, which is very unfortunate. If so, it'll fix itself at one point in the run. I was hoping to have that there just in case, but it should be fine. You get it for the end of the end level. So we're going to summon Cypher into Egon here, and then hopefully, as when I was practicing this earlier, this went very well. This is not looking... No, I've forgotten to do. Thing that I said to do. Change Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt 2. There we go. Now we're going better. So Lightning Bolt 2, not only does it chain to more enemies, but it also does, obviously, as you can probably guess, more damage. Who's alive? Oh, wow. That's unfortunate. It's more so this one at the back that's unfortunate. Let's just send fire and it should be fine. Lovely. Egon actually interrupted their shield just when that firebolt got there. It was nice. Another of Christopher's relics. The blue chest there contains heal 2. Was it heal 3? It's one of the heals. It's either heal 2 or heal 3. But it doesn't matter at this point. Send Egon out. Hopefully hit a couple of their weaknesses to stop them from breaking this tree. Egon's gonna get stuck on me. Don't worry about it. Thanks for the help. He's trying to get an enemy to the left. The enemy can't get to me because they're stunned from using the lightning, and Egon can't get to them. So this enemy right here will be using Cypher. Very nice. And we'll just use a bit of fire here for this Wyvern, because there's a save point on the other side of this door that we can just use to get our stuff back. I don't know if I actually remembered to mention it. The save points replenishing your arts and stuff only works the first time. That's going to be important in the next level, actually. So again, send out all Egon. Actually hope that he does take care of them. He did. Thank you, Egon. He's still summoned, which is nice. So this room has an unfortunate enemy in this lad. We're going to summon Cypher. My fault for not moving there. Because Lightning Bolt now takes up a lot more in terms of our magic, instead what we're going to do is we're going to be using Cypher for the single target stuff, which is why Hail Shot is really useful to have from earlier. Everyone, that is everyone. Cool. This is the Cathedral Key. Again, would you believe it's for just down here? Otherwise, we would also skip this fight. There's a couple of really long fights that can happen. I won't get full arts from this, so I do want to get arts before that goes forward. Now, hopefully I can get a good angle here. Sometimes I've had it where the Lightning Bolt has not hit multiple enemies. Like so. But with the enemies there, if you do that combo there, you can just keep them together, which is nice. Someone's alive. It's you. One of the ones that's actually really weak to Lightning Bolt. That's actually a genuine surprise. This room's going to have a couple of enemies. We're going to summon Cypher, Egon. Use one lightning. I have got to stop getting hit by these enemies today. Once again, going to use Ice from Cypher, just trying to take care of this enemy a bit quicker. Then with their elemental weakness, and then I want to build up my magic for the fight after this one. Not too bad. Again, one of Christopher's relics. And again, the game is reminding us we are searching for the 4 gifts, but we're actually going to be getting our next Enherio before then. I really like our next Enherio. I think they're one of the best characters in this game. They also have one of the nastiest side quests, which is really cool. Hopefully, this enemy goes down in 2. Big shield, break them. And then for this enemy, hit with Egon and Lightning Bolt. Nice and simple. Lightning Bolt 2, as we found out recently, is exceptionally overpowered. It is very, very strong. The amount of times that it bounces and the amount of damage it does is actually ridiculous. Also, the nice thing is, summoning Enheria for the Enheria puzzle doesn't actually use any of your Enheria gauge on the bottom. That was just always missing from the previous 2 fights.
The holy laws decree.
Avoid most of the enemies. Armin's there, by the way. Yeah, speak to him for some story if you want. We're not going to do that. We're just going to ignore the poor guy and just leave him alone with his amnesia. Avoid enemies, and it should be, if I remember rightly, our next boss fight up next. I might want to consider Soul Steel before considering I should have it at this point. It shouldn't be super... Thank you! Shouldn't be super necessary at this point. Okay, some really aggressive enemies today. This is a shame. So give me... whoop, not that yet. That one. We don't need our support one. And you can see we don't have any silver gems. Silver gems we'll get on the next level. There's our next boss, just waltzing around. It's actually fighting our next Inheria. You see them in the corner there. That's Christopher. Now, the nice thing about this boss is it's very weak to one element in particular. If I could actually summon my Inheria, that would be nice. It's thankfully very weak to Egon. It's very important that we don't mess up immobilizing these enemies. The boss here actually has a couple of body parts that you can break kind of like after the fact. Like you can break the wings and the legs. My clone here isn't that hot right now. There's the soul burst. That should be it. So yeah, you can actually, like on the harder difficulties, it's actually somewhat useful to break the back legs, so that once you come out of the immobilize, you can just get the boss down again instantly, and it won't do anything. Thankfully, again, for this difficulty, Lightning Bolt 2 is very, very, very strong. We can avoid these fights, and we can avoid a couple of fights in this town by sticking to the right. But you'll see now we have Christopher on the bottom right. We didn't actually have to fight the... We didn't have to fight the Naglfar version of Christopher, unlike with Cypher and Egon. We're also going to get another little bit of backstory for Armand. How come we keep getting Armand's backstory? Alright, Egon into lightning. We can just lightning a couple of times. I should have used Thingy Bird, you. Not fire, but it worked. It works, it still works. There's a save point refill coming up at the end of this, so it's not too bad. Gems, and there's our save point. So we'll be replenishing our arts before we get to the end. If I had a higher combo, I wouldn't do this, but I don't, so we'll just do that. Because that should only give me back, like, one of my arts gauge. I would like all of them. So we're not going to use Christopher just yet, but we'll be using, again, our good old trusty combination of Cypher, Egon. Hopefully I can hit the Drake here a couple of times. Hit with another Egon AoE. So we broke the tail very, very briefly there. Also, if we can switch back to Cypher here, most of the enemies here, as you can see, are weak to them. Very nice that Cypher went after the enemy that they're actually weak to. Actually very, very useful, that. And as you can see, there's a good old barrier here. I believe one of the gifts is behind the barrier, but if we take the gift, the area is going to explode or something. But we get all the townspeople to safety, and then it's either there or not there, but explosions don't happen, as you can see. Convergence is an interesting skill. Convergence is one of multiple skills that we can use to kind of drag enemies into an area. Gravity is an interesting kind of... There's basically 5 major elements that I haven't really spoken too much about. There's, as you can probably guess, fire, lightning, ice, holy, or light, and also darkness. As you can probably tell, you can only equip 4 elements at a time, which is a bit of a pain. But there's also another element in the game. I think it's separate from light. I think it's like a holy that's separate from light. It's what heal is classified under. But we have a little bit of gravity-esque spells as well, where we can drag enemies in. Honestly, it's pretty good. For dragging enemies in and then using, lightning, it's pretty good. But we're going to go to Chapter 6. You might be surprised. We're going to get our 4th and final area here. But we know that one of the gifts is here as well. Now, there is a bit of speed tech here at the start of this one. I've been failing this jump a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little bit of an attempt and then disappear. This one does save, again, a good, 30 seconds or so. It saves us, having to go around the area. So I'm going to send Egon to the left. Oh, seal. Yeah, that's a thing that now comes up. Seal basically seals your abilities. That's, a surprise. Oops. Egon dealt with his side quite nicely, actually. Thanks, Egon. He'll deal with the enemy. I'm just going to run over here. I have full faith in Egon. That's why we like Egon. We can get onto this rock here. The setup is a little weird, and I definitely take it a little bit of a weird angle myself. We can get onto... Oh, very nice. If I didn't mess it up. Supposed to do a light attack in between the two jumps.
That was a tenacious one.
Imagine getting it first time and then messing it up. There you go. Simple as that. So that saves you from having to go around the edge. Not happy about falling once, but I am happy about nailing it twice. These trees are very annoying. Do not let the tree live. But the seal, as an ability, basically locks it so that we can't change the inheria that we have equipped, and we can't use certain skills.
Let us
I am holding the left trigger video game. We still think there might be some value, or like some hidden out of bounds somewhere. 'Cause if you look at this, you can actually like get yourself stuck on certain things. And like we can gain a little bit of height, as you've seen from the skips that we've just done earlier. You can level up your inheria. It's a little weird. Your inheria level up the more you use them. So at the end of every chapter, you'll kind of see the results screen where you'll see their face for a little bit of a second. That's every time you summon them, they basically just get stronger. It's a weird system. It's not like an out and out, you know, I don't put my gems into them to level them up as well, which would probably be a bit more useful, but the system works. It's fine.
What is this?
I'm actually also going to summon Christopher for these enemies here. That'll be doubly. That way I can use Egon. I want to build up my magic for the half of this as well. One of the nice things about Christopher as a inheria, if you do a strong attack at the end of your combos, you get a heal. Just a free heal outright. That was a very bad bounce. I should have been aiming for the one to the left. Unfortunate. That was also a bad bounce. For combat, your enemy positioning and like the ones that you actually target is very, very important. Because as you can see, Lightning Bolt doesn't exactly bounce all the time in the ways you would expect it to. Sometimes you would expect it to bounce backwards to the enemy, but no, it'll go left instead. Some of these plants as well are actually nice to skip. I think it's left side. Yeah, you can just jump over the left. You have to start breaking the plant before it gets rid of the rest of the invisible barrier.
An easy fight.
Combo finishes, so I can get my stuff back. Too bad.
I was right to make you one of my chosen, Egon.
Cool. Everybody? Yeah, good. We can run forward here. There's no point because we're going to get dragged back. We've actually already met our next inheria. She is waltzing around the area. We're just meeting up with her. Her name is Taika. As you can probably guess by the glowing red here, she's very much the affinity of fire, which, as you can see, all of these normal soldiers are usually the affinity of fire, so Taika is one of the really good inheria for like the early game, but you just don't get her into like the late game. But again, Lightning Bolt, as you've seen, is somewhat disgustingly strong. So, you see there's a giant plant up there. The objective in this area is to take care of these giant plants. It's kind of taken root over the area, blocking off a couple of different pathways.
To my side, I know all
Okay, good bounce. That's how everyone get close, just to take care of you. Go through here. We'll send Egon to the left and hopefully chain both. We did not. That's a shame. It's also a shame because the other one also didn't chain. I'm going to be down lightning for this next fight. I think for this next fight, I'll do the traditional Sofa Egon. See, like, look here. You can, like, get, like, kind of on here. And if you look to the right here, we've tried a lot of ways to get up here quickly. Because it looks like you'd be able to get up there with, like, a rising attack. But there seems to be, like, an invisible wall. This was an okay bounce, not the best. Not something Christopher to take care of these a bit quicker. These enemies are weak to that spear that I said about that I really like. That's unfortunate. Nope. Ah, that's an unblockable. So you can see on the bottom right, I've got lock at the minute. That means I can't actually switch to Egon. That's actually not great. Actually not great at all. Who's alive? You've been fighting this guy for like 2 minutes. Whilst I've been struggling with my own struggles. As you can probably guess by this big gap in the vines, yes, we can just jump over it. Just straight over. Egon. Lightning bolt. Nice fight. Just nice fight. That's what I mean about having like good angles for some of these attacks, because if you just get good angles like that. Also, another Inheria puzzle, which, surprise, we use Christopher for this one. Sometimes, yeah, that doesn't bounce. That's why I kind of like aiming to the right. I've aimed at the enemies in front of that before and just had that miss completely. I should have taken care of you first before you got the chance to use your shield. Good. Nice. This side, I always get the first floor mixed up with the second floor. Although I need to go to the side on this floor as well. Ooh, that was too early on my part. That's gonna hit, yeah. So, the other thing about the enemies that are flying here is they can put shields on themselves, but also shields on enemies. So that's what happened with that plant there, which is unfortunate. I should have finished off in the air. I need one more hit. So see how I broke his shield there before I used the lightning? So then, Christopher for you, because there's only just you left. I'm going to go over to this corner. This treasure chest contains another Arts Ambrosia. It's a nice, quick, and easy one to pick up, which will obviously now give us 6 Arts. So if you remember that our new Lightning Bolt 2 takes 2, we can now cast it 3 times. When full, obviously. But very important distinction. Hopefully, we've gotten magic gems back for the next part. We can skip this bit. We can't skip this bit, unfortunately. It looks like you can, but you have to wait until it's like mostly disappeared, unfortunately. Again, we got another Egon part coming up here. Hopefully we can go fast enough to stop them from shielding. Nice. We can start using 2 now. The next plant we want to take care of is actually in this little room here. Some people actually missed this one. I'm not going to name names. It was absolutely me. And we don't want to run away from this one too early because Taika's next spirit relic is right here. If we run away from that, we won't be able to grab it too early. Thankfully, there's a cutscene for this one that we can just skip and get this immediately. Not sure quite why that one's different than the rest of them, but I appreciate it. So, got stone for Taika. Essentially, most of this was caused by Taika. Unwillingly, because Taika just has these, you know, powers of fire. Taika is essentially kind of like a witch, and yeah. Through here, we're going to use this, and I'm going to upgrade and hopefully get Alphada to level 9, I hope. Good. Yes. Plenty of magic gems now. Get spinning slash. We get a couple of more moves. Every single time you level up your weapon, apart from like the level 9 upgrade after this one, you usually get moves. So if you look at the bottom right, you can see like how much extra stats we're getting. Those extra stats combined with the extra stats for like magic, magic boost, etc. are really good. Take care of you. Not the worst. That's pretty good. Take that. Start doing my dash cancelling again. Big long straight. Once again, some Egon. Take care of the 2 ads because they're both weak to the lightning. I'm actually going to not take care of these 2 lightning. I'm going to take care of you with fire. Again, take care of the tail to get rid of it. Nice. I don't need to grab... I will just in case. It's fine. I'll try and keep this combo going, actually, and then just have it for later. We don't actually have to fight the enemies here. I'm actually going to summon Cypher just to try and keep this combo going. That way I can get my stuff back in a little bit. This bit, we just carry on over the top, over this. There's a ruin over in that red chest in the corner, but we can actually just avoid all of this by jumping over. Egon for this bit. There's 2, as you can see, enemies here. I was kind of hoping to get them a bit better than that. That should kill the other one as well. It didn't. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well done, Egon.
Thank you, Egon. This is why we like Egon. Egon's a good lad. Egon helps us out.
I can handle this alone.
Good. Summon Christopher.
Just trying to
I did summon the Egon then, that was good. Couple of Darkness Affinity'd enemies here. Again, for the Darkness Affinity's enemies, we'll either just use Cypher with Ice, or obviously if we can get, obviously, Thunderbolt, Lightning Bolt 2 is good. Yeah, there is one in the corner. I had a suspicion I saw that. I'm building my Ice a little bit. Fine, I'm just going to take care of them. But there's no fight on the second floor. Remember this hole, because we can actually use this hole to get down a bit quicker when we're down from here. Get all my stuff back here, and I got most of my stats anyway. Okay, that's fine. So drop down the hole.
You won't need chains in there. Put your arms out.
You can see, yeah, unfortunately, Taika in the past.
No. Leave them
Yeah, not great,
Please.
fortunately. I'm actually going to use this twice to get rid of everybody. Go through here, and then hopefully have a good bounce in here. It's a little bit risky doing this, but hopefully it works. That's fine. And then they're all close enough together that I can just chain that attack, which is really good. Good, yep. Nice. Decent room. I'll take that. Happily take that. So we're going to go through these doors. Again, this is one of those areas where if we get a little bit more height, we can just jump over to there, which is where we want to go. As we go around the corner, get a couple of enemies, but again, we can just ignore these enemies. The next time we're in this little room, which will be in less than like 30 seconds, we can't ignore the enemies in there. This is the prison key. You'll never guess where this is for. Yep, right here. Every single time. Not quite sure why, but every single time. And we'll break this plant. We can kind of sneak through a little bit on the left-hand side quickly, but we can't really get to the last relic, because as you can see, the last relic is also kind of covered up with vines. Have to wait until everything's kind of gone. Hello. Just standing there. Hello. So now we're going to go into the land of, would you believe it, fire. I don't think anyone is surprised at this revelation. So we gotta go fight Naglfar Taika for this room, and for most of these rooms, actually, we're going to be using Cypher. I want to make sure I don't waste too much of my magic, because I don't have that many arts gauge right now. That's... whoops, a daisy. I'll be by accident too early. Christopher's just here to help. Christopher will build up our combo meter. Again, dogs can be frustrating if you can just jump attack them. They're actually a lot easier to deal with. Up here, we'll be summoning Cypher again. The spurts of fire here are really frustrating, so try and, like, not have enemies, like, on the other side if you can help it. The trees go down very, very quickly at close range with, obviously, ice, as you can see. Using Soul Steel there, it's fine. We don't go that way, we go this way. Just follow the fiery Taika. But yeah, as you can probably tell, most of the things here are just Cypher. See there, I wasn't that close for this. The next boss after this one is a little tricky. Oh, good. I'm glad the targeting actually went for this wyvern here. Very nice. Feel free to use magic at this case, because there's literally just, that's the last one and there's a save point. I do want to do something before Taika, and I believe it should be our next big level up. So Magic Boost 6, Soul Burst 2, and it should hopefully have enough for, yes, good. Everything kind of worked out in the end for Magic Boost 7. Good. That's what I was worried about earlier, but now we are good now. Come over. Good timing on those. Alright, this boss can be a little tricky. I'm going to hope that the boss charges me at the start, so I'm not going to do anything for a second. And then we're going to do... good. Egon into Cypher. Hopefully hit the tail a couple of times too. You see, the tail is the weak spot. It's a shame. Shouldn't have messed around there. We do have to be a bit careful at some point, because you can probably tell this tail is coming off. we go for the head. And we can spam ice. Very nice. Very, very nice. I'm happy about that. Whew, I'm very, very happy with that. That fight, if that fight can have a couple of connotations that can go a little wrong, that was very nice. I'm very happy with that. But now, as you can see, we have our last Inheria. We have Taika. So we're running across here. You can see there's a couple of tree roots and more of those plant roots because there's another big plant over here. So we're now looking for the rest of the gifts so that we can obviously stop Ragnarok or do Ragnarok. I kind of forget which at this point. You'll see. Actually, you won't. Not in this ending. I'm waiting here. That's why I'm waiting here, because there's a couple of enemies to lightning bolt. Yep, cool. A little bit of a bad bounce for the second one, but that's fine. This is why for VE, positioning is also important, but so is, like, knowing what to do in fights in case, you know, like, lightning bolt doesn't, like, fully bounce the way it should do. I always go the wrong way here every time. I'm not using that save point because we won't get a heal from it again because we've already used it once this level. And we just carry on. But that's actually not a problem. Oh, look, Inheria puzzle. Could this possibly be with Taika?
I can be of use here.
Nice Taika. Taika is awesome. I really like Taika. I like her in this game. Her story is actually quite tragic. I won't spoil it, but Taika is actually really awesome. We'll be using her in this level and the next one a couple of times because her first skill that you have on her is like a giant fire AoE skill. It's really good. Really, really good. Hello, enemies. Oh, no, that's later. Keep forgetting that's later. Use the save point, and then we're going to go up to this bit. This will be the last bit of this chapter. This is basically just going to be a big bit of enemies fighting against us. I'm going to give you a flashing light warning because I'm going to be summoning a lot of lightning in this bit, and it's going to be going on for a little while. So, summon Cypher into Egon, and then we just start casting some lightning bolts. So you can see just how, like, actually disruptive that is. This is a very good place to get, obviously, magic gems and stuff. The enemies that are weak to lightning bolts spawn on this side. It's over off bounce, but it's fine. You have the enemies over there that shield up. They are obviously weak to Christopher. Keep an eye because your default Inherias disappear after 30 seconds. So just make sure that obviously you resummon them when you need to. Egon's gone. Best bounce because I locked onto that guy by accident. Try again. You also see that our Inheria bar is not coming back, but if I do one of those, we will get it back. Go. So if Egon disappears again, I can get Egon back really quickly. I want to say this is timed, or like a certain like amount of enemies killed. I'm not 100% certain if I'm being honest. Egon's gone. That's fine. So we just summon it again. There you go. And hey, guess who's here? Definitely not evil. Don't worry about it. Is Odin. He's strong enough to send one of his avatars to Midgard and help us out. But one thing you don't see there, the actual reason why this chapter is called Evil Arises, is we get our first appearance of Fenrir. Played the Valkyrie games, Fenrir should be a name very familiar. In this game, Fenrir is a wolf monster. And Fenrir is trying to cause Ragnarok to essentially reset the world, blah blah blah. You know the drill. You know the drill. But once again, get used to this run towards good old Odin. We're coming on to chapter 7 now. This is actually one of the longer chapters in the game, and it's actually the last proper chapter you'll be seeing in this speedrun, despite the fact there's 3 left.
I have returned.
Because there is some very, very big speed tech for chapters 8 and 9, which essentially means you won't be seeing those chapters at all. Kinda cool, you'll see. So, this chapter has a lot of big fights. Basically just giant fights full of, like, multiple enemies. Like, there's not that much in terms of skipping stuff. There's a couple we can skip. This one... Thanks, dogs. I'm having so many aggressive enemies today. needs to stop. I don't do this one, remember? Every time I come back to this, I keep doing this fight, even though we just run back to the big room we did before. Way to remember it is, you've already broken the barriers here. Just leave. It's fine. So we'll summon Cypher. We will summon Egon and a Lightning Bolt. Go to the right. Lightning Bolt. Good bounce. That's a bounce that I wanted. Hit in the sky. It's an okay bounce. Good. So as you can see, yeah, Lightning Bolt has a ridiculous bouncing range to it. Going to use any magic to get past him. I should have done that earlier because, again, we just have a save point here. I don't need to use that because with as high combo as I have, I will get that back once that has finished. Egon, Lightning Bolt. He's busy. And the nice thing about this new route with Lightning Bolt 2 is before, the big problem of the run was that we had to utilize the menu a couple of times to change, obviously, the elements that we were using in certain fights. We don't have to do that anymore. Because Lightning Bolt, as you can see, is just a little disgusting. That was the forward attack. That's my fault. Hang on. Thank you. I'm glad I'm on this side because there's two enemies here, as you can see. The enemy behind the witch there can actually survive. Egon, I'm going to trust you. It's my Egon. Good lad. We don't have to take care of these witches. All we have to take care of is these enemies, which again, thankfully I have Lightning Bolt for. Oh, nice dodge. Very nice dodge. So I launched him in the air with that to try and make it so that I could just combo him. As you can see, we have an Inheria puzzle here for Taiko. That's not Taiko. that's Christopher. that's not the right Inheria. I'm going to ignore that treasure chest there. We're going to grab the save point here. All my arts for the start of this. Video game? Video game? Thank you. This is why left trigger is a bit weird for the confirmation, but you get used to it. I wasn't close enough. Egon, take care of you. I was hoping that would kill because there's going to be... You probably get some positioning my camera here for a reason. Ooh, unfortunate. I wanted to get these enemies. What I should have done was manually targeted them. That was a good lightning bolt at least. I don't like it when you do that attack, so I'm just going to get rid of you first. I'm hoping they'll kill. They should do between the two of them. There we go. So, jump over. This fight's going to be a little rough because I don't have magic for lightning bolts, so I'm going to do Christopher, change back to Egon, not get grabbed by that unblockable, miss my lightning bolt completely. Ooh, feels good. Switch back to Christopher for the elemental weakness. Ideally, you don't actually summon Christopher in this fight, but this helps a lot for some of the larger enemies like this. How did that grab me? I'm kind of... okay, sure. Grave Edge also good here because obviously all the enemies in this particular fight are weak to light. I didn't have to do that. That was a little too much, but I wanted to make sure they had gone. Again, we have a 231 combo. That's going to fill us up to full. Our man's here. We're going to get some backstory for our man. The world's going to go upside down. Don't worry about it.
Hold your horses, young sir.
It's pretty obvious that voice is Odin's. Just don't worry about it. But we also hear Maria's voice. So let's go this way. Yep. So the game is basically at this point not trying to hide the fact that, you know, Maria and Armand may have known each other when Maria was human. For you. Stop you before the soul gets to you. Not too bad. Alright, last wave. Spin that side so I can get all of you like that. Nice. Cool. I'm glad he was attacking so I could do that. Use this to refill. At this point, we don't actually get any more level ups. We just want to keep refilling our stats. Left, we can ignore these enemies. So yeah, you can see that we're just doing the same level as before, just going backwards. This time we'll be going a different pathway once we're through here. Gonna be some enemies here. I'm sending Egon to the left because that enemy can be very frustrating to bounce against. Good. Nice. Very nice. and head this way. There's gonna be like the reason why I'm hoping that there's like some kind of like out of bounds stuff is like there's a couple of fights, especially in this chapter, the next one that's coming up, that if we could skip them, we could save minutes. It would be fantastic. There's definitely potential if you consider the chapter 6 and the chapter 2 skips, but we haven't found anything. We have looked pretty hard between all of us. So this is where we're also going to be using Taika in the fight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to summon Egon into Taika. Taika into Egon, I should say. There we go. That way I can do this, and Taika will do this. Which is a skill you can actually get yourself. That's via Storm. I think that they would take care of them. Good. Yep. 2 ice buff enemies here, so we'll just use Cypher. Oh, that's fine. Oh, God, again. And this is going to be a Taika fight. I'm going to hopefully get all the enemies together to run towards me. They kind of... she went for the back ones. That's a shame. But you can see that Firestorm there does a giant AoE. It's really nice. It's something that I think we possibly use in Blossom Descent. I'm not 100% certain. But I will be using Fire here. I'll take her out. There's a save point up ahead, so I can just replenish my magic there. Not the best, because Taika didn't go for the one I wanted. Actually, this combo should be fine. With this combo rate, we should be very fine. I should just carry on. For this bit, we're going to do Cypher and Egon. And you. 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 Christopher. These enemies are taking a little while to go down. I can't grab you because Egon's in the way. Thanks, Egon. I appreciate it. All of our stats for the next fight. We can run past these enemies, just going this way. There's another save point coming up here. There's a lot of save points, which is nice. Like, there's a lot of ways to replenish your stats. The game's not that restrictive, which is really, really nice. We can avoid this first group of enemies, which is nice, because this is a dark buff enemy, which would be really nasty to take down, to be honest. So, is that... Wait, what happened to Cypher? What? Why has Cypher disappeared from my menu? What? I've never seen that before. Huh. Because I could kind of do with him right now. I don't know where this guy's going. I also don't know where I'm going. Cypher's just disappeared? I kind of need him for this fight. Because there's going to be a wave of every single elemental weakness. Alright. Okay. It's very genuinely weird. Because now I need Cypher. Is he on... He's not unequipped. So I'm just going to change their order around and see if that fixes. No? Okay. What if I change just with Christopher? Can I... Cypher's gone? This has never happened before. I guess I'll just lightning bolt for Cypher's wave. Just unfortunate. I actually have never seen this before. That's curious. So now I say he's gonna take forever. Hey Taika, do me a favor. We're gonna hit it with fire. I don't want to use Taika yet because Taika's wave is coming up. Thankfully, we have Grave Edge here that we can use. I have literally never seen this ever. Wow. That's an interesting glitch. Not a useful one. I do hope that fixes itself, but it's fine if it doesn't. So we have Taika for this. I would like to take care of the tree early because these trees are really annoying. Oh, I got grabbed. No! You have to mash there to get out. You can actually miss you actually miss doing the mash there. It's really weird. That has thrown me for a loop. I've never seen that. Fire, as you could probably guess, very good for these enemies, even the shielded ones. With Taika equipped, we fire 2 firebolts instead of the 1. They brought their shield up just as I was hitting them. That's a shame. And for the last wave. That was the last wave. I forget. I thought it was another, like, mixed wave at the end. I'm thinking. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of.
Do not underestimate me.
I would not say this is new tech, considering it's going to lose me a bunch of time. Anyway, this is a big mansion at the top of these stairs. This is going to be where the end of this chapter is. It's going to be a problem for the Hilde fight. I'm gonna make sure Cypher's back in neutral position. Just gone. Just in case, I'm gonna make a safety save in case something, like, breaks here. Although the nice thing is, at least Chapter 9 is not too far away, so... Ugh. I've genuinely never seen one of my Inheria just disappear. The nice thing is, the only ones we really need at this point for this level is Egon and Christopher. We should be good with just Egon and Christopher. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Save quit, potentially. Potentially, I am considering that. At the very least, this is the end of the chapter, so if something breaks after this, it's fine. And here's the thing. We're only going to get into one fight near the end of this run. Which I do want Cypher for, but I can mix it up with... I mix it up with Taika or Christopher. Probably Christopher, honestly. I'm going to use this save point just to refill here, because we have a... Actually, a potentially hard boss fight here. This, I think, is the hardest boss in any percent, at least in my opinion. If you look at the middle of this floor, there's no one here. It's clearly a boss arena. And, whoop, there's Hilde. Just pops in. This is why Cypher isn't necessary for this fight, because we're going to be summoning, obviously, Christopher into hopefully losing Hilde completely. Unfortunate. It's the real one. So again, we really want to crush Hilde. I forgot to mention, actually, some bosses... I'm locked into Christopher, which is fine, because Christopher is who I want. Some bosses actually do not go into their immobile state. This is fine, because that will keep me alive. Mostly. Dodge this. There we go. Being locked here is really bad, because I'm going to lose a lot of damage. Ah, Hilde. Oh, Hilde. And that lock basically lost me a bunch of time there as well. Dang.
We failed to retrieve the next gift.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Christopher just saying once again, you know, we kind of failed to stop Hilde taking the gift and we have nothing to show for it. Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate that. Love the vote of confidence right there. I actually lost Cypher, which is what I'm more worried about, Chris. Kind of need that guy for our last boss fight. So we have 2 chapters left. There's less than 10 minutes left of the speedrun. If I do everything correctly, there's only 1 fight left. Over 2 chapters. Because the entirety of chapters 8 and 9 are completely skippable. I have no idea how Cypher disappeared. I'm not happy about this. I really hope he's back for this next level, because I do need him. Anyway, ignore the fact that Odin, once again, is looking like he's evil on this chair. Odin sent his avatar down to, obviously, Midgard again.
How did it go?
We're going to be going and meeting up with him, because he's almost back to full power, and we're going to go and stop Fenrir. Well. we would stop Fenrir depending on the ending of the video game you're going for. We'll discuss that in a second, but we're going to the Serpent's Nest. Because there's 4 endings in this game. You'll see. There was actually a running theory that Odin in this game was actually Cypher's back. Cypher just wanted a bit of a break. I mean, it's understandable. I'm not happy about it. It's understandable. Very glad they are back. Oh, I forgot there is actually the 2 we'll go down. Thank you. There is actually the 2 fights at the start of this one. I'm building up my magic for this bit. I've literally never had that happen. Fight on this bridge, and then there shouldn't ever be a normal fight again in this run. Right, again, I do everything correctly. I hit the bridge instead of the enemy. Let's hit fire against that enemy because they haven't been hit that much. So, you're supposed to follow these blue fire around the level. They lead you to treasure, but they're kind of tricksters because they lead you to fight spawns. So all we're going to do is going to be very, very close and stick to the right-hand side here. We're going to cut across some corners. We're going to run towards this tree. Trust me, that's important speed tech. We're then going to go over here, and we've skipped about 4 fights. I'm not even kidding, we've skipped about 4 fights at this point. We're going to stick to the left-hand side. I don't know why this chapter is like this, but this chapter lets you skip everything. As long as we don't go too far to the left, we don't get into a fight, but we're going to stick to the left here. We're going to, you know, jump over this building, as you do. You don't actually have to jump over this building, but I like doing it for safety, just in case. Stick to this left-hand side. This bit is a little awkward, because you need to get over here. If you land in the goop, you kind of die, you get repositioned on the level. If you do it at the wrong goop, then you get put into a fight. We've just gone through this entire level, skipping about 8 or 9 fights. And we're going to do it again. We're just going to do it again. We meet up with Odin's avatar, and we get taken down to, I believe, Niflheim. It's very, very close to this area. And
injured?
remember the tutorial area we skipped earlier? This is the boss of that tutorial area. So you do actually get to see him. I am a little worried about this fight, because this fight is a little tricky if you mess up. I obviously want to make sure he's mobile. I want to make sure that I go over to the head, because that's the very big weak spot. Use magic to spam our way through the attack. I kind of did that at the wrong timing, so that's my fault. I'm going to summon Taika and obviously Christopher to help me out here. Then resummon Egon and hit this one. Not the best ending, but still good fight. Now, you might be wondering, if you've ever played Valkyrie games before, you're probably wondering, hey, Froob, where's that thing called Nibelung Valesti? It's in this treasure chest. Oh, hey, Fenrir. Okay, bye. that's Fenrir. Fenrir evil. So here's the downside. So is Odin. So, yeah. We have this next chapter is going to take me about probably like 3 minutes at most. So, essentially, between us and between Fenrir, we have all the gifts. We now have a choice between 4 endings. The any percent goes for what we like to call the bad ending. They're not actually labeled. This is exceptionally clearly the bad ending. The bad ending is the only ending that has 0 boss fights and just ends the game. We're essentially just on our victory lap at this point. There are 3 other endings. There is an ending... We're going to go and speak to Armand. Armand is going to give us 2 dialogue choices, and we're also going to get the last bit of plot that is essentially the big plot twist of who Maria actually is. With Armand, he has the 2 dialogue choices. One of them gives us the bad end. The other one gives us a ending that at this point would give us about 8 boss fights in a row. It's really hard. We fight Fenrir twice. We fight all of our Inheriors. And then we fight Odin. Then there's another ending, which I can't remember actually how you get it. I think you're supposed to get, like, you're supposed to ignore Armand and just go straight towards Fenrir. You fight, I believe, Fenrir twice, Hilde once, and then that's it. No, and then you fight then Odin after that, I think. I can't remember. There's 4 boss fights to that one. But the true ending is with those white flowers you saw earlier. Get ready on time, by the way. It's in, like, the next 30 seconds. The white flowers you saw earlier are a hidden thing that says, you know, Odin's up to no good, which you could have guessed from Chapter 1. And you have to come and speak to Armand, tell him that you don't want to, like, go off with him, and instead do your Valkyrie duties, and then you go fight Fenrir and Odin. Well. Twice. So some of the boss fights are, like, on, like, both of them, on all different, like, endings. Time will be when I do this next dialogue choice after, not this cutscene, after this cutscene. And as long as I make sure I get the right one, time. That, as I said, it's the bad ending. You just walk off.
Yes, you're right.
Am I a Valkyrie? No, I'm leaving. That's it. I'm done. Like, do my duty as a Valkyrie. Now I'm just gonna go off with this guy.
And don't let go of this.
I'm not even kidding. The bad. This is why we consider this the bad ending. We literally go with our man, and we just run off in a field of flowers, and everything is fine, right? Everything's absolutely fine. I'm sure that Odin is definitely okay with all of the. Oh no. And that's not one of Odin's ravens. Oh dear.
Oh, nothing. Let's go.
Oh, yep, that would be one of Odin's ravens. That's the bad ending. That's it. It just ends. Blossom percent is the other category we have on the boards. That gives you a much more kind of satisfying conclusion. We consider it the true end because it's essentially like the good ending. You have to go and get all of the flowers that didn't have like the message below them back in chapter 3. They're actually not too far off of the path that we usually take in these levels. The levels are actually pretty nicely designed just to go and get them, which is nice. But yeah, that's the bad ending. It just ends. But yeah, we consider the Berserker like the final boss for that one because he kind of is. But no, true ending is not the hardest boss fight chain. The hardest boss fight chain would be if I said to Armand right there that I didn't want to go with him, that I would have stayed here, because we would have had to, for Hilde Fenrir twice, all of our Inheria, and then all of our Inheria with Odin, which is one of the nastiest and hardest fights that this game has to offer. It is very nasty. It is actually really, really hard. Because you don't get heals in between, you don't get the chance to, get anything back in between, and if you could imagine all of our Inheria that we've been using for this entire run, fighting us at the same time. Yeah, it's a little hard. Because Odin gets the ability to just teleport and hit you whenever he wants. So, thanks for that. Appreciate that. But there is also, as we said earlier, there is also another category, or it's not on the boards, but there's another thing that we do runs of at the minute, which is Hilde's DLC. Hilde's DLC is pretty cool, actually. It's basically, if you've ever seen the Virgil DLC for any DMC games, it's kind of like that, where you go backwards through the levels, but you play as Hilde instead. And she has her entire own fighting style. Hilde's cool. This is cool. This Hilde's Vengeance is like an hour and 10 minutes. It gets really hard towards the end because everything scales like quite dramatically towards the end. But Hilde plays very differently. She doesn't have like the weapons that Nora has, and she also doesn't have the Inheria, but she has shadow versions. And yeah, no, she's cool. She's cool. This is a good game. I like this game. Yeah, that is technically PB because that's I haven't recorded my lower PBs of this, but in my other PBs I didn't have Cypher disappear, so but as I disappear quickly, I'll just wrap this up real quick. If you want to speedrun any of the Valkyrie games, Profile Samaria, Elysium, we have a Valkyrie Discord where everyone's hanging out there. World record for this in the past month or two went from a 140 to a 125. So the actual world record of this is really, really good. The world record of this also doesn't have Cypher delete himself in the middle of a chapter, so appreciate that. Thank you, Cypher. And yeah, thank you, Questing for Glory, for having me. I appreciate it, and thank you for letting me show off Valkyrie Elysium.
Hello, everybody. And with thank you, Froob, very much for the end of that. I see you there.
I don't know what just happened. Thank you very much. My entire audio deleted itself. Maybe Cypher took my audio with him for a second. I literally lost all audio for like a minute. What just
Cypher took
happened?
everything from you.
What is happening to my audio today?
Well, thank you for your run and for I guess a PB.
Yeah,
Recorded
I haven't recorded any of my lower PBs. Like I had a 1:32 earlier in practice, so technically that's the only recorded one I've got sub 2 hours. So technically that is a PB because it counts. It has evidence. Thank you, Cypher, for raising my PBs. I guess.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and give my thanks here and maybe go raid someone. So thank you for joining us once again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the excellent marathon.
Well, thank you. But yeah, so everyone, that's the end of Questing for Glory. Questing for Glory 5. Although it's really our 8th event, but, you know. we've had some side events. We've had some side questing and charity and all that good stuff, but, yeah. So I just want to go ahead and give a couple of quick thanks, as always. First off, of course, to RPG Limit Break and to Plexel and the staff of the RPG Limit Break for allowing us to put the event on their channel once again. I think it's worked out to be a nice little partnership here between us, and we're glad to have a place to promote both Limit Break and runners and games alike. Thanks to my staff, of course, Elmegas, Swoogie, Kios, Little Monster, RPG Chick, BGG. Can't forget Palmer and his stream PC. I mean, I'm technically Limit Break staff now, but it's still, you know, we're two different things still, you know. Of course, K Butts Corner, Kevin Butler, the one who did our logo, did our banner artwork. Please check him out on Twitter. You can see it in the top left corner of the screen. Did my audio disappear, by the way?
I'd hear you. If that helps.
Oh no, I mean the game audio that I was playing in the background.
Oh.
There we go. Give it a little bit more. Thanks to the Japanese Restream for picking up the event. Always great to have the Japanese Restream helping out. And I'm glad Hoishin and them picked up our event. All I asked for was, hey, do you want to cover the Dragon Quest Relay? And they're like, we'll cover everything. So thank them very much. I've been keeping an eye out on that channel, and it's been actually pretty exciting checking things out. Thanks to the moderators who I think got to slack off this year because chat was so amazing. I'm not even sure if we actually banned anyone entire week. The moderator channel has been very quiet. So thank everyone, all of you who've popped in here and hung out, whether you lurked or participated. Y'all were awesome this week. And yeah, of course, thanks. The runners, y'all submit, we accept. We just put you on a big screen and let you do all the work. But yeah, so it's you know, overall I would say this week was great as usual. We a couple of usual technical mishaps. Sadly, one run that never got to go with Freedom Pulse and Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2. We tried to put it back on the schedule today, right before Valkyrie Elysium, but his internet never actually fixed itself, so we couldn't put it back on the schedule. So that's the sad part. Otherwise, yeah, it's been great. And look forward again to the next Questing for Glory. But I think we have a raid target we're going to head to. let's see. How about I am going to throw down some Black Death Doom. Black Death Doom is playing some Chrono Trigger right now. He ran the very first run of this marathon with Legend of Dragoon. So we're taking it full circle, everyone. So, if you would, please do me a favor, and when we raid him with that message, we have once again quested for glory. So on behalf of me, myself, I am High Spirits, creator and lead organizer of the event as usual. I look forward to hopefully putting this event on again. So thank you once again for being here, supporting, and hanging out. We'll see you again. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.